Have you ever wondered if you can predict when your next poop is going to stink? Well, it might seem like a silly topic, but the truth is, the smell of your poop says a lot about what's going on inside your body. And relax, there are no judgments here. This video isn't meant to make you embarrassed or lecture you about your diet. But before we dive into the science, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Because for every 500 subscribers we gain, we are going to donate a basic food basket to a family in need. That way, in addition to learning and getting a few laughs, you also help those who need it most. The idea is simple. We're going to understand with ease and curiosity what makes poop have that characteristic odor and what you can do to prevent the smell from spreading. So, if you've ever been through that tense moment of being away from home, walking into a restroom and thinking, "Oh my God, I hope there isn't a horrible smell left behind," this video is for you. Now, let's get straight to the point. Why does poop stink? The culprit is chemistry. More specifically, the bacteria that live in our gut. When they digest food remnants, they produce compounds called volatile sulfur compounds, such as hydrogen sulfide, which smells like rotten eggs, methanethiol, and dimethyl disulfide. All these compounds contain sulfur, and sulfur is the main villain behind the strong odor. But it's not just them. Poop also releases volatile amines, like putrescine and cadaverine, which are produced during protein decomposition. Yes, those names are real, and unfortunately, they accurately describe the kind of smell they have. Additionally, there are volatile fatty acids like butyric and valeric acid, which have that characteristic sour smell. In summary, what makes poop stink is a cocktail of chemical compounds produced by the bacteria that live in harmony with us. They are there to help with digestion, but as a bonus, they release these foul-smelling gases in the process. Now, what makes the smell vary so much from one person to another? Primarily, diet. Foods rich in protein, especially red meat, eggs, garlic, and onions, increase the production of these sulfur compounds. On the other hand, people who consume more fiber, fruits, and vegetables tend to have lighter-smelling stool because the bacteria ferment more carbohydrates and fewer sulfur-rich amino acids. There's also the intestinal transit time. That is, how long the poop takes to exit. When digestion is slower, the material stays in the intestines longer, the bacteria have more time to act, and the result is a stronger odor. When transit is faster, as happens with those who have a fiber-rich diet or drink plenty of water, the smell tends to be milder. But okay, understanding the reason is one thing. Now let's move on to the practical part. What you can do to prevent the smell from spreading, especially if you are away from home. The first tip is simple and effective. Line the toilet bowl with toilet paper, leaving only the central hole clear. This reduces the impact of the poop hitting the water, avoiding that splash that releases bubbles of gas and odoriferous particles into the air. Furthermore, the paper creates a small barrier that helps contain the initial odors. After you finish, close the lid before flushing. This step is extremely important, and many people ignore it. When you flush with the lid open, the whirlpool of water creates a cloud of micro droplets that can spread bacteria and foul-smelling particles throughout the environment. Yes, even onto the toothbrush if it's a small bathroom. Closing the lid prevents this and helps trap the smell inside. Another very useful technique is the progressive flush. You flush once before you start, to leave the water clean, and then again right after you finish. This reduces the time the poop is exposed to the air and decreases the concentration of gases in the environment. If the restroom has any liquid soap, disinfectant, or even scented alcohol, you can drip a few drops into the water before using the toilet. This creates a thin layer on the water surface, which acts as a barrier against the gases. Some products sold as pre-spray work exactly like this. It's applied science in everyday life. And yes, the old trick of striking a match really works. When the match lights, it burns the sulfur on the tip and releases sulfur dioxide, which neutralizes volatile, foul-smelling compounds. Furthermore, the smell of smoke is stronger and masks the odor for a few minutes, enough time for the smell to dissipate. Now, if the restroom has a window or exhaust fan, open it without fear. Natural ventilation is the most efficient way to disperse gases. Fresh air dilutes the concentration of the compounds, and the smell goes away much faster. But what if your poop always smells really bad, even when you're eating healthy? In that case, the odor might be a sign that something different is going on in your body. Certain conditions, like lactose intolerance, irritable bowel syndrome, or pancreatic issues, can cause excessive fermentation and incomplete digestion, leading to stronger smelling gas and poop. It's also common for the smell to change when you're taking antibiotics, since they alter your gut microbiome. None of this is meant to scare you. It's just a reminder that the smell of your poop is actually a good indicator of how your digestive system is doing. If the odor stays unusually strong for a long time, it's worth checking in with a healthcare professional. Now, before we wrap up, let's go through a quick round of myths and facts about poop smell so you can leave this video really understanding the science behind it. Myth number 1. Perfume hides the smell. Wrong. Perfume might seem to help at first, but the alcohol in most fragrances reacts with sulfur compounds and can actually make things worse. That's why mixing poop smell with perfume often creates that awful, dead flower and sewer scent. Myth number 2. Good-smelling poop means you're healthy. Not necessarily. Pleasant-smelling poop might just reflect what you ate, like fruit, coffee, or aromatic foods. But smell alone isn't a reliable sign of good or bad digestion. What really matters are color, consistency, and frequency. Myth number 3. Everyone's poop smells the same. Wrong again. Each person has a unique gut microbiome, basically a chemical fingerprint made up of trillions of bacteria. That's why poop odor can vary so much from one person to another. Myth number 4. Lighting a match is just superstition. Partly true, it's not superstition. There's real chemistry behind it. Burning sulfur from the match head releases sulfur dioxide, which neutralizes stinky, volatile gases for a few minutes. It works just temporarily. Myth number 5. Poop smells worse when you're sick. True. When you have an intestinal infection, the flu, or are taking antibiotics, the balance of your gut bacteria changes. They start producing different compounds, which is why the smell can become more acidic or noticeably stronger. Myth number 6. People who eat a lot of meat have smellier poop. True. Digesting proteins releases sulfur-containing amino acids, which turn into gases like hydrogen sulfide, the classic rotten egg smell. Diets higher in fiber, on the other hand, tend to produce milder odors. Final myth. Odorless poop is possible. Partly true. There will always be some smell. It's a natural biological process. But you can reduce the intensity a lot with a balanced diet, good hydration, and healthy bathroom habits. So that's it. Now you know exactly why poop smells, what affects that smell, and how to stop it from spreading. You can laugh about it, learn from it, and even use a bit of science to turn an awkward situation into something much more manageable. Remember, everybody poops, but now you do it with scientific knowledge and style. If you like these tips, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with that friend who always avoids public bathrooms. Let's break the taboo, talk about something totally natural, and still help people in need through our food basket donations. See you in the next video, and may your next poop be quick, silent, and, ideally, completely odorless.